What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the AfterBuzz TV Walking Dead After Show. It is Sunday night. We just watched an insane episode. Was the kill shot a kill shot? I'm waiting to find out. Cannot wait to talk about it. I got John Carl and Roxy Striar on the couch at the desk joining me. Let's get right into it. We'll see you in a second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes, this is the AfterBuzz TV Walking Dead music. That's the first time I heard the name of the show, guys. That's what just happened.
Wow.
Have you heard it before? Were you on?
I had an email that we all should have listened to and read. But yeah, no, I knew that was coming.
Yeah, somebody didn't read his email clearly.
Of course I listened to the email,
Way to be
guys.
the main host and not read your stuff.
Guys, it's Sunday night. Welcome to the AfterBuzz TV Walking Dead After Show. This is episode 15 of season 6, titled Aced. That was my Morgan impression. It wasn't good.
I thought you said aced. I'm like, what? There was an ace reference in this?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's going to be a long episode, Ben.
I've got John Carl to my left.
Hello.
And of course, we have Roxy Striar on the panel for the first time.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm really excited. I'm supposed to be on a different after show right now, but I watched with you guys. It was so good that I had to join.
Also, F them, because when we don't have a girl on there, we get yelled at in the comments.
Yeah,
so
we'll see how you guys do tonight.
And Roxy Striar with the Audible at the line to be on our show tonight. So that was quite the ending. Quite the ending. I kind of want to work backwards just from the final moment, but I think we should get into a couple things for that, which is that we are on iTunes. So, of course, subscribe, like, give us a rating, hopefully 5 stars, preferably maybe 4, but not less than 4, please.
Yep.
It helps us keep the lights on, of course. We are on Twitter, each one of us. You can find me at Ben Bateman Media.
You can find me, the John Carl, on everything.
All right.
And you guys can find me at Roxy Striar.
And lastly, of course, Roxy has a brand new show that just launched called The Tomorrow Show.
Yeah, I do. You guys can find us at The Tomorrow Show or thetomorrowshow.com. We're a new show with our creators here, Kevin Undergaro, Maria Menounos, and we do all different crazy stuff on Monday and Thursday nights from 7 to 9 Pacific time. We're in Star Trek uniforms. We've had like producers of shows and also porn stars come on, so we're all over the board.
Why have I not been invited?
You're both of those things, right? You check both those boxes.
Yeah, I came from the world of wrestling. That's what I did.
So make sure you check it out Monday and Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific time, thetomorrowshow.com.
Yep. Boom.
Oh, and since she's plugging stuff, I'm also going to plug. We now have Whiskey and Waffle shirts, just saying.
I didn't get one. Did you get one, Rox?
The prototype.
I got the whiskey part, not the waffle part, though.
Okay. So that is what we have to say prior to the show, guys. So let's get right into what happened. I want to start with the kill shot. I know it's listed last on the rundown. I want to talk about it first. Spoiler alert, I guess you had to have watched the episode, but what happened to Derrial? What happened to him?
I don't think it's a kill shot. Well, I mean, they've done a lot of misleads and stuff like that, but they actually even made sure to say, oh, you'll be fine, kind of thing. And
right.
It was also one of the worst effects I think I've ever seen the show do, with the blood splat hitting the camera. It's definitely meant to just be there as like a get your attention, but you're not supposed to believe he's actually dead.
I'm a very dramatic person, and I was like, he's gone. That's it.
Really?
He's completely dead. This is the last we're seeing him. Yep. You guys are both like not even flinching. I'm like, are you kidding? They just killed off my favorite character.
That is part of why I enjoy watching a show with you, because your reactions are amazing.
They get me every time. Like, to me, it was the best effect I've ever seen in my whole life, and he was absolutely dead, even with the line after it. Like, you'll be fine when you're in heaven, is how I heard it.
See, I think that they are a little gun-shy after the earlier half of the season. I think that there was a kind of a negative response to Glenn's death. And I think that they, honestly, if they hadn't pulled the Glenn move, they might have had that gun positioned a little more ambiguously, not go with such a fake-looking bloodshot. Yeah. And lastly, Dwight would not have said what he said. They would have literally done the same thing.
If they didn't do the Glenn thing, 100%. But they got such a backlash on it, and I don't think they wanted to get that to happen again. I think they were okay with it the first time, but I think going to the well twice in the same season would have been the big misstep.
Well, because we talked, and honestly, it's funny because if you think about using that here as opposed to using it there, it would have been much more effective to use that tool here at the 15th episode, because then all we have to do is wait for the finale, and of course the 90-minute finale is going to be nuts. We're going to get everything explained. Whereas with Glenn, it was like, we kind of didn't know for 3 or 4 episodes. It was really distracting. Right.
Yeah, and there would be way less controversy. You either get shot and killed or you get shot and you don't. But when you're hiding under a dumpster and then you aren't killed, I think people are going to be way more pissed off than with the gun situation. So that actually could have been a cool tool to use now.
Yeah, agreed. But that was, I guess he's not dead. I mean, so talking about how we got in, I don't think he's dead.
So you guys say?
Yeah.
There's no way he's dead.
I'll believe it when I see it.
So talking about getting into that situation, Derrial's supposed to be like a master tracker. So like we get a lot of scenes with Derrial in The Walking Dead where it's kind of like the action movie moment where the guy like sees the knife and he's like, these guys are pros by like, one thing.
Yep.
Darryl's able to like look at a footprint and be like, they went 12 clicks east or something. That's kind of his thing. So the fact that they could be hiding in the woods and get so easily trapped and snuck up on surprised me a little.
It's not as shocking to me because right now he is in it's obvious he's in a real heightened emotional state. And when you're more heightened emotionally, you mess things up. So maybe he's so focused on getting the kill that he's not focused on protecting himself.
Right.
And changing that priority is what puts him at risk.
Especially when your sights are on something like that, and you have somebody else who is equally, if not better, at tracking clearly.
Right.
You see that.
And he was emotional too.
Mm-hmm.
He was driven by emotion to get himself in that situation. All right, so we will reconnect it because that was obviously the end of the episode. So let's open with Rick and Michonne feeding each other an apple.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was kind of a strange thing. I've never laid in bed in the morning and fed someone and had them feed me an apple. Have you?
No.
You gotta slice it first.
You
gotta slice it, put some chocolate and peanut butter on it,
Right.
like make it a little more sensual. This was weird, and we saw it just kind of drip. It was a weird moment.
And they
for
each
them.
took one bite, and then it's just kind of like laying there on the sheets. And I know they
cuddled
have
with the apple.
I know they have hot water there, but it was just really like, okay, now that you have like apple juice on your sheets right now, it's really. Hashtag shag apple from not the Avenger fangirl. That's great.
I mean, I just like. It's not that I don't get it, because it's a very sweet moment. Like the apple is there, she's hungry, so they're just having like a moment together. I don't think, to your point, Rox, that there's like a great opportunity to like really casually in your sweet cuddle moment, like grab the apple and like slice and prepare your apple.
That's true.
Like feed it to your. I don't think that can work.
Although
I'm
these
not
are the
actually
only.
suggesting that. Let's be clear.
But these are the only people that I wouldn't be shocked if in bed they just pull out a knife and did something, because it's like they need it near the bed. But
Right.
I feel like in this moment they are just so losing sight of who they are as characters that it's stressing me out. Even from Rick's line to we're gonna kill everybody if they come here. I have it somewhere, but it honestly,
World is ours.
world is ours. We know how to take it.
we know how to take it. Yeah.
See, that's one of the 3 notes I wrote down.
Scary.
And you can't read it.
I can't. Your writing is atrocious. It's a good thing you got everything up there.
Yeah.
He honestly is giving us really, really bad foreshadowing. So the sweetness of the apple just isn't enough to make me not worried about what's actually to come.
I did see, though, when I looked over, with the three of us were watching, when they were like having their moment, you were getting like the giddy girl, this is a romantic moment smile. Did I misread that?
Definitely.
Okay, never mind.
Definitely misread.
Stricken from the record.
Really interesting from the chat room. Somebody said Adam and Eve and thank Jesus like right after each other with the apple. So that was if that was intentional, I didn't pick up on it. But if that happened, that's actually really cool.
So jumping,
I'm in on that.
Yeah.
Jumping from apple eating
Thank
to,
you, chat.
I think the next shot we see, or one of the next moments we see, is Carl picking up a gun, and on the gun handle
There's
was
something
a
engraved there.
baseball bat wrapped with barbed wire.
Yeah.
And anybody who finished the episode, and I mean anybody who pays attention and like reads anything knows what that is. But especially at the end of the episode, you see the bat that is in question in the scenes from next week.
Yeah.
Which,
and the best part is, you and I are totally caught up on the comics. Are you?
No.
So that's one of the great parts of watching this show as a group is there are certain parts that some of us know and some of us don't.
Right.
And him and I just kind of like gave each other a look, and I think you just kind of glossed over it.
Well, I knew it meant something because you guys clearly knew it meant something, so I made note of it. But I love that. I love that you guys could help me with that. So thank you so much.
And we're doing a good job of not horribly spoiling it. So.
Yeah, definitely. We've gotten a little better at that, slightly. But I do think it's funny that just because I know the three of us have all seen Batman vs. Superman already. And they've announced the casting decision. We've like seen, we even saw the shots of him and his baseball bat. In the post show credits.
Yep.
But Bruce Wayne's parents in Batman vs. Superman.
Are you gonna give a spoiler right now?
No, it's just saying who the actor is. There's no story point spoilers.
Yeah, it's Maggie and Negan. That's like pretty hilarious to me.
It's either that or it's like the most intentionally effed up scenario just to do that.
That to me is like the absolute proof of when you start to come up and you're a big hotshot in Hollywood, like you're a huge name. When they're like making Batman vs. Superman, they're like, who's going to be in the movie for like 3 minutes? They're going to have these tiny parts. And that's how big Walking Dead is at this point. You know what I mean? That's how big like TV actors have become now. Is that like if you're a TV actor, you can just straight up be a featured role in one of the biggest movies of the year.
Yep.
And she looked
Just don't
beautiful
talk,
and did
though.
a very good job with what she was given.
Yes, she was gorgeous.
Yes.
And apparently has no. We were talking about this in the scene with Glenn and Maggie, and they're in the shower and they're panning down.
All right.
Rox, field this one, please.
Yeah,
for me.
it's better if you say
Your
it.
comment.
We kept kind of panning down with the camera, down, on, and I was just waiting for us to stop. We kept going to her actual butt.
Yeah.
No crack.
Right.
Just butt. We get low enough that she either is missing a butt crack or
Right.
they did some weird editing stuff there. That was so strange to me. Like, some people just have really low butt cracks.
Can you not? You can't show that on TV, though, right? You're not allowed to show that on Walking Dead.
You could show it on. I mean, they showed butt, like full butt on like NYPD Blue 20 years ago, so you could get away with showing a butt.
That's like what I thought. You couldn't, but I mean, maybe they just.
I'm trying to think of a moment in this show that we've done it.
Yeah, I mean, they were obviously intentionally showing the bruises, and that was why they stopped where they did.
Right.
But they could have stopped a little further up. Not that I mind, because she has a really nice curve to her, but it was so strange.
The difference is
Missing
regular
crack.
butt versus wet butt. That's the thing.
Is that legit?
That goes from some sensuality to a
100%
lot.
no.
100%
Not at
no.
all.
Perfect.
I'll take it. You're the voice of reason.
The voice of reason.
It's the voice of God in our ears right now.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Well, let's jump to the next moment after we saw the hilt of the gun with the Negan bat, and Carol has left, and so Tobin has a sad moment, and she tunes out. How do you feel about the Tobin Carol thing? Does it make you sad at all, or you're just like,
No,
don't care?
I don't think it was a legit relationship. I think it was just have a body next to you kind of thing.
I think do you think there was a minute for her where she considered it?
I think he did. I don't think she did.
Yeah.
He definitely did. Yeah.
This was a hit it and quit it moment for her, though.
Carol.
Yeah. She went it, like, it's kind of mean a little bit what she did. Even to the last moments when we know she knows she's leaving.
Right.
And she still goes in for the kill shot. Like, Carol.
Here's my question. So Carol is indisputably.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's saying we've seen Rick's butt.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe this season, right? Maybe.
Yeah, when they got interrupted by Jesus.
Yeah.
No.
We saw full butt,
That's-
but not a wet butt.
It was not a full wet butt.
It's
No.
got to be the crack thing then. She just has a low crack.
Okay. You heard it here first, guys. Tweet at Lauren Cohen, tag Roxy Striar. No.
Don't do
Please don't do that.
TV exclusive.
Tag Ben Bateman.
Okay.
His Twitter's been blowing up all weekend anyway. So.
Yeah, no, but not about that. So. Moving on. This is so uncomfortable. All right. So anyway, Carol is indisputably, I think, the most. She, in my opinion, I'll just say, she's the most badass character the show's ever had, and she's one of the most badass characters I've ever seen on television. I mean, she's cool to the point that in her insane episode, I think it was 2 episodes ago, right? The one where
She's on the floor.
yeah. She was like, when I went to my Twitter moments after the show, it was like one of the 5 Twitter moments. It was like a portrait of Carol, and it was like the story of Carol on television. And it's like, that's how crazy cool of a character is. So my question is this. All right. How old do we think Melissa McBride is supposed to be in this show? Do we know? 43?
I'm so bad at
Yeah,
this.
I'd say like early 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm picturing if my mother was 43 years old and she was in the Walking Dead scenario. I'm trying to think if I know anybody's mom that I've ever met that I could imagine would be a Carol. Like, could just execute to that level.
But you have to think about anybody. Carol's kids never thought Carol would be a Carol.
Right, because she wasn't that way when the show started.
So you don't know where somebody's going to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just started thinking about it. I was like, man, that is just some next level
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who like.
The coolest mom I've ever met, like the one who was just the most nuts and bolts. Like, I don't know any moms that were in the military, so maybe like that would be a part of it. I don't know. Just a thought.
I don't know either, but she is, I agree with you, one of the most badass characters, not just on this show, but I think females across the board.
Yeah.
She's incredible, and I'm loving this new tactic of hers that we've seen a couple times
She starts
now.
like hyperventilating, actually scared.
It's brilliant.
I
I want to use it in my life.
She had the gun sewn into the pocket. So that was at the beginning when right before she was packing,
Yeah.
she was doing the sewing. What we didn't see was her put the automatic weapon into the sleeve of her coat.
Was that like some sort of like miniature
An automatic handgun.
automatic handgun?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is why it was like burst fire and then she's out.
Right, that was why it was even like if we always watch it with the closed captioning on, it was even automatic gunfire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that was crazy. So she killed Hero was his name.
well, no.
Oh shit! Again, I think you guys watched the
Well,
episode.
no, but she didn't
she
actually.
thinks she killed Hero,
She
but she
thinks she
didn't.
killed Hero. So it was Hero that survived the initial burst, and then one other one. I don't think we got that one's name.
Yeah.
I don't
The
know.
driver?
I don't know if it was Miles was the one that lived or the Miles was the driver that died. But there was Hero and Miles. Those were the two.
And then she just wasted 3 other dudes. The dudes who were...
Yeah, the 3 unnamed douchebags. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like, we talked about Carol's kill count going into this episode. We were pretty sure it was 23, right? That was
I think that was the last one I tweeted 2 weeks ago.
So if anybody in the chat knows that we're definitely wrong on that, correct us real quick, because I think we're right about that.
So it was 23, and then we saw the 5 get killed, and we upped it to 28, and then we saw Hero wasn't dead, so that dropped it down 1, and then the other guy, the one who wandered into the field.
Yeah, the left shoulder shot.
So she thinks she's 28, we believe she's 26.
So should we call her 27? Is that fair?
No, she didn't put the guy down.
She gets like an assist maybe on the Hero kill?
Yeah,
the
but
Hero
she
kill is
definitely
an
didn't kill
assist.
him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, Rick just took him out, so.
Right.
He could have made it. He looked like he was going to struggle until he survived there.
Right.
And then he got a knife to the head.
And then that happened.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Here's one of my favorite moments. So she's driving in her like straight up Mad Max car. It's like a full on like Fury Road car. It's like full of spears, and then these guys in their truck are going by her and they just open fire. And then she's like, "Don't hurt me." And the guy says, why do people always assume the worst? Probably because you just shot my car.
Their tires out, yeah.
Obviously. He was so annoying as a character.
Yeah.
Like, you moron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were happy to see him go.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Every single one of these guys that is an obvious bad guy comes across as really rapey too.
Yeah, and
So creepy.
The guy in the front seat, right at the wheel, who gives her the look, and he's like got the thing in his tooth, like a cigarette or like a something. He gives her like a really creepy smile. Like, yeah, I think that I do have to say that from the point of view of like watching characters and wanting to sort of have a balanced approach to my villains. A lot of the villains in the show so far have had just this very black and white cardboard, I'm a bad guy feel.
Yeah, it's the black hat.
Yeah.
They're very much like stereotypical villains. There's your good guys are your good guys, but your bad guys are the worst guys.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people that are in between right now, and that's one thing from a character perspective I feel like the show could benefit from is like who are the anti-heroes or who is the bad guy who could possibly be switching and is just forced into a sucky situation.
I think they can justify such graphic death on this show by doing that. I think it would be very, very difficult for a general audience, like 15 to 19 million people a week watching this show, to sign off on such brutal, brutal death if they didn't feel like the bad guys were dying and the good guys were living largely.
I just don't know how you get to be a worse good guy than Rick. Like, that's as bad of a guy as you can be while still being a good guy. So what could we do to make our villains less evil?
Did you watch Daredevil season 2 yet?
No, I haven't finished it yet.
Okay, well that's the answer.
I'm embarrassed to say it's like this week probably, or like next week.
Yeah.
You're both slacking and terrible.
I know.
It's like getting ruined for me already, like Facebook.
Stop.
Please do not put it in the chat.
Yeah, oh my God.
It's all right. Just don't read it.
So, all right. So, Carol is Nancy from Montclair. Do you guys think that she had that? That was like her cover when she went out on the road. She
that
knew
was her go-to name.
She didn't just like come up with it
Super
on the
quick.
spot.
Yeah.
No.
No, she was prepped on that.
It was fast.
Well, it's one of those things where if you're going to lie to somebody, you have to believe your lie for them to believe it too.
Right, yeah.
Because they didn't question if she was from Montclair or named Nancy. It was just you were somewhere after Montclair.
And they knew she was exactly 12.75 clicks from that gated community.
With the
down
cars
the
that had
way.
spikes in the window. So that means they've had Alexandria under observation. Like they've been within line of sight of Alexandria.
Yeah, so here's my question. We've talked, and anybody who watches this after show knows this, we've talked a lot about the fallout that we think is going to happen based on comic books. But without going there, and it is hard sometimes to keep the two things straight.
So we just won't talk about it. We'll just let her talk about it.
That's what I want to ask Rox. I'm excited for this. Do you think that, like, how many people do you think Negan's group has? How bad do you think things are about to get?
Oh, it's so difficult. How bad do I think it's going to get? Really, really bad. How
okay.
many people? There seem to be so many at this point, and the whole, like, we're all Negan thing. I'm going, like, if not dozens, maybe 100.
Because they kill off the saviors like nothing. They're like, oh, like if we were to lose like 4 to 10 Alexandrians at a time, we would feel like our numbers were getting thin real fast. With Negan's people, it seems like they can die and just it doesn't. We're supposed to expect we're taking out their numbers,
Right.
But
And it feels like you just took out like a small percentage of it.
I just don't know. I mean, I know from the comics, but also I know they're not unwilling to deviate. So they could just be using the character, but they could have a completely different vision for how they want to go with the story. You know, like who knows? Anyway,
What is it you would rather see?
I think the feeling I get, a lot of the interactions from the characters this episode, like especially at the end of the episode with Rick talking to Abraham, I really get the feeling not only are things going to get bad, but I think things are about to get really sort of like the organization of things is going to get ripped way open. I think their unified front, their ability to sort of like control the game, I think is just about to get just out of their hands.
Well, yeah, I mean they definitely put up that front today with the first scene that we were talking about with in the bed. This is our world, we know how to take it, and it's like, oh God, that's. You're just waiting for karma to come back and kick you in the ass right now.
Right. The second you think you're comfortable is the second you're going to get
it's
completely
too
annihilated.
confident.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so Derrial takes off, but he doesn't know that Carol's taken off, which is really interesting because when they showed us the stuff last week,
I thought that's where he was going.
Yeah, you assume he's going after Carol. So he's actually going off just a straight vengeance mission because
to find
Denise,
Dwight and the crew.
Yeah.
That's the relationship I still care about, by the way.
Carol and Derrial, you're all in on that one?
Yeah.
I asked about it 2 weeks ago.
I'm still for it.
When they had the hug at the end of the episode, and I was totally like, does that mean something? Everybody else on the panel was like,
even if it's as best friends, I miss watching scenes of the two of them together
Their
because I think they
interaction was
complement each other so well that I was kind of excited to see him go rip somebody's head off about her, but that's not what he's doing.
I was bummed out too. I liked the relationship with Denise that he was building. That was another relationship I was fond of. I thought their humor together was very funny, and it's a bummer that she's now gone and possibly. We've contended for a long time. We'll just repeat it in the predictions that Derrial, but we'll get there later. So.
Jane in the chat also made the great point where Glenn was saying the world is a lot bigger than we thought it was going to be, and that's great foreshadowing to the size of your competition. You know, you look at what Terminus was, and Terminus was a small, messed up group of people, but it wasn't. They weren't fighting an army. It was just a really well done together tactical group.
Yeah.
So
I do think that that's really interesting. Like. We talk about sometimes how because the comic book audience is so massive with this show, and you get so on social media, especially like YouTube comments and live chats, it's almost impossible to avoid the information if you're like a big enough fan. It just gets thrown in your face.
Yeah.
So I think that the showrunners and the writers know this, and I think that they're doing their foreshadowing for the end of the season pretty brilliantly. You know what I mean? Like even just going back as far as Glenn, the fake death. Right, Glenn seeing the pictures on the wall from 2 episodes ago.
Yep.
Carl seeing, or I just really feel like they're setting us up to not know really how this is going to end. Derrial now taking a shot possibly in the shoulder. Is Derrial gone? Right? Is it going to be Derrial who loses his life? We don't know. And I think they're playing on our expectation a bit.
And then there's always the option of it being both or all.
I think, well, I'll wait to share that for the last time because we share it every week. But so the 4 that go out, we have Rosita, we have Michonne, right? We have Glenn, Derrial. Did I miss someone? Is those 4?
Nope, that's right.
Okay, so Rosita has a moment just before they leave where she sees Sasha talking to Abraham. She gives her a real dirty look. Real dirty look.
Yep. And I suck at picking up cues from women, so I completely ignored it. I had no idea. I was like, you guys mentioned it after. I'm like, what?
No.
Sasha's
I suck at that.
You didn't get anything from that? That was like an up, down, girl.
It's a bad moment.
Nope, I ignore all of that.
It was the moment where Sasha's
There's
like...
a reason I'm single.
The moment where Sasha's like, here's the cigar that I found for you. I'm trying to be sweet to you.
Yeah, I saw
but
that.
in a secret way so that Rosita, because I know Rosita knows what's up. She's watching. I'm just going to give you this and like we're going to split up right now. I'm not going to kiss you. I'm not going to like graze your hand. There's none of that. Right? Yeah, all right. So then Rosita goes out into the wild and she's on Daryl's team. First she's like, we got to let him do it. We got to let Derrial do his thing. And then she really quickly, one of you said that was a quick pivot.
Oh yeah, where she went from,
she 180.
You got to let him do it to, screw this, I'm in on it, I'm doing it as well.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I kind of think she knew that the whole time.
That she was going to do it?
Yeah, I think she was with him the whole time, and this was kind of her ploy to get out there, like, I'm going to go and stop this, and then she got there and was like, bye.
Yeah,
I was never on your team, yeah.
So just before they leave, she says, I know where he's going, and she tells Abraham to stay. Why did she know that? She was sure because
it was before anybody knew that Carol had left. So what's the one thing that Derrial would be going out for vengeance for? And knowing he's a tracker, you got to assume he's going after Dwight. There's nothing else in his world that matters right now other than him wanting to get revenge. And he even said it last episode, I should have killed him.
Right.
I should have killed him.
A lot of guilt.
She's also the character who potentially could have made the same decision. So all she has to think is, where would I be going?
Yeah.
I know exactly where he's going.
She just doesn't have the tracking skill that he does.
Right.
That's the only reason why she wouldn't have gone out on her own, probably.
Right.
Glenn's discussion of the world's a bigger place now, and his sort of foreshadowing. We don't know what's out there. He could get himself killed. Do you guys feel like that's just foreshadowing something Glenn's demise? Did you get any more clarity on that with that conversation?
Yeah, I mean that's totally the. I mean I've had that gut the entire time, and then they're starting to get really heavy on it. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just it feels like it's building dread for me that it's going to happen rather than what's going to happen. Like it's just watching a scary movie and waiting for the killer to come around the corner and kill somebody right now. That's the feeling I get every time Glenn is on camera right now.
Did either of you guys read the article this week, the Uproxx article about the possible bait switch that Rick, in fact, is going to be the character that dies?
No, I don't believe that.
I read the article, just basically, it was talking about an interview with Lauren Cohen, and she said, we're going to do some of the craziest episodes of television ever, and you will never see what's coming. And we've talked a lot about, in like the top 5 unkillable Walking Dead characters in order, and Rick is always number 1. I'm trying to think, how would they handle it if they wanted to do that? I can't see it happening. Who would slide in to the Alpha A role if Rick was to go?
Well, maybe that's why Carol would make her come back to the group.
You think Carol would become the boss of the group?
Yeah, potentially.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
I can never see Rick not being the centerpiece of the show.
It's hard to imagine.
It's really hard to imagine. You know, I think in terms of the characters you have built on it and everything like that, even though we've heard things about Derrial, you know, going off and doing other shows and stuff like that, from a character perspective, it would still shock the world to see it happen, and that's why, you know, we were watching the start of Talking Dead, and if, you know, Hardwood goes, if they kill Derrial, I'm not going to be on the show next week, and it's like, I think that's the pivot, man. Like, or both. If you do both, that's even a bigger shocker.
I see 2 coming, but we'll save the full dissection of that.
The future is Carl. No, I hate Carl.
He will. I mean, eventually.
I also don't think that they're killing off Rick, but I think it could be a really smart move if they did.
Really?
Yeah.
So you said he's the worst guy who's a good guy.
I love his character. I think he's great, but I think if he died, talk about chaos amongst our group. Like, nothing would be more chaotic than that.
But the reason I think that he can't die is because this threat is so big, they need him to live through it.
Good point. Yeah, I can see both sides.
I see. There's enough infrastructure of the plotting of this show that comes from the source material, and enough fresh stuff. That you would. I'm trying to sort of imagine how would they take us to that next point in the story with such a successful show. They would be risking a lot to do it because you're killing
your main character.
You have to essentially recreate the entire plot line. And actually, speaking of that, just quickly, I'm going to jump over to Rick and
pointed at me really like
he did
aggressively.
I got excited.
He said killing your character and then put it at you.
Okay, so apparently I won't be back for the next season of The Walking Dead on AfterBuzz.
So Rick and Morgan go off in a car together to look for Carol, right? And Morgan basically admits in a conversation that he kept the wolf alive, right? He essentially created this chaos, and Rick very quickly, as crazy as he's been, just listens, he's like, you had one of them at our place? Morgan's like, yep. He's like, here's my gun, good luck. It's like, what?
No, so her and I, like, immediately when that happened, and Morgan gives his speech about what happened, and he's like, well, I kept this guy alive, and Denise was there, and because Denise was there, that's why she was still alive, because the wolf saved him. And we're like, Denise wouldn't have been in danger if she didn't have to come to the jail cell in the first place.
Which is the story of every single person that Morgan saves. And he's like, but they did something good. It's like, because they messed up the whole situation in the first place.
Right.
You're
that was
such a
BS
frustrating.
logic.
Oh my God, he's so frustrating. Talk about a character that I wouldn't mind see going. Yeah. Oh God.
I was real, and I like yelled it in the middle of the studio when the walker was like close to jumping on his back. I'm like, just bite him. Just please bite him right now.
Well,
they didn't give it to me.
That's one of those situations where Morgan's whole character in the context of the show versus the source material is very unique. Like there is nobody in the comics has his sensibility. Like that's not something we've seen. They created that for television.
Very much like Derrial. Like Derrial and Morgan are very unique to the TV show, which I love.
Yeah, which is really cool. And Morgan, he's one of those love to hate characters because I know there has to be fans of this show that are like, he's correct. And his whole point about Denise, it's not about Denise. It's about people. His whole idea is that, okay, you know, the wolf didn't kill Denise. Denise got killed last week by a savior with a crossbow. The fact that Denise was in danger and this guy was able to come through, you know, full 180 with Denise in his hands is the point. Like you can put these people in a dangerous situation. You can rehab them. And he could have become an ally if he hadn't died.
Yeah. As much as that episode was incredibly frustrating to watch when we stopped all the Glenn stuff and just went to see Morgan and what was up with him and why he is the way he is. If we didn't have that episode, all of this to me would be like, why? Yeah. Why is he doing this? We have to kill him. He's the worst. Now at least I get it. I don't agree with him, but I get why he's there.
I still don't understand how any group of executives or showrunners or producers in a room would be like, all right, The episode that has to be 90 minutes is Morgan's origin story.
You're completely right about that, but we did need to see something.
I just got
order to
called
get to
little
the
dude
tomorrow.
in the chat.
Little dude?
I got
Was it
called
LIL or
LIL.
Lil Dude?
That's more
Is it your
endearing.
rapper name?
Apparently now it is. Yeah.
This is more endearing than little.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
true.
I want one.
What's
Lil
Roxy?
Rox.
Yeah, what's Roxy's
Lil Rox.
name on the panel? Chat, please help us. All right. So they're out in the field, and this is what I wanted to talk about because we started to talk about, and this is tell me if I'm way off base here, but like they see this guy looked like with a staff or a spear.
Yep.
And he's hiding behind a barn, and he says he's looking for his horse, and he goes off running. Rick tries to hit him, tries to shoot him. This is right after the Morgan conversation.
Yep.
And Morgan's like, you can't do that. So he's in body armor. He's on a horse.
It looked like football gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember the plot line that I'm kind of getting at?
The horse in the field from way long ago?
No, from
okay.
way later. It's from in the story. It's from beyond what we've seen so far. It's like
Not off the top of my head.
okay.
No.
I won't even go into it now. Then
yeah.
I'll wait till the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering because we didn't resolve that guy. They didn't
No,
go after.
that's going to be a character that I think. I don't think any character that you meet
Yeah.
doesn't matter. At this point, they've gotten to the point where they're
If they live, yeah.
Yeah, if they live, they need to come back in some capacity, whether it's a positive or negative, like how Dwight ended up being a huge negative.
And Jesus ended up being a positive.
Right, exactly. But, well, I mean, we knew Jesus was going to matter just because of his name and everything like that with the books. But Dwight was just an unnamed character, and it's like, there's no way they're going to let this plot point just go away. So the guy with the body armor, he's going to be revealed to do something.
Okay, Donica, do me a favor. Throw out a spoiler alert. I'm just gonna 60 seconds. I'm just gonna ask this because I don't want to do it in
Spoiler alert.
predictions.
Spoiler alert.
Give us 60 seconds if you're listening or watching if you don't want to know the future, and I'll be very vague here. Okay, you know the plot line.
Should I not listen?
Yeah. Plug your ears. 60 seconds. You know the plot line later with the skins. Mm-hmm. Okay, remember how those guys, they have the body armor, they go to the barn, that's when they find the skins of the horse and all that, and the guy gets kind of lost in the barn, and she sends someone out after him. Remember that guy? How far do you think the foreshadowing could possibly be with a character? Like, do you think we could be seeing a character now that's going to show up like a season or two from now, and then they're going to call back to it? All right, he'll respond vaguely. You can come back in, I guess. I don't know what we're doing. Rox, you're good.
You're good.
Okay, back. He's going to respond vaguely. This is a question about how far in the future are they foreshadowing for?
So the thing I believe about this show is they are confident they are going to be able to run this show for as long as they want at this point. If they say, we want this to be 9 seasons and we're going to put something in this season that will appear mid-season 8, I think they have the power to do that.
I know from a continuity... go ahead.
I don't think this specific instance is the time to do it.
Right.
But I do believe that this show would be the one that has the power to do so.
From a continuity standpoint, obviously, that doesn't make any sense. You know, we're like in Terminator 2, like time travel stuff. If you're going to do that, it makes 0 sense. But I'm just wondering, because it felt so familiar, the visual of it, to the comic.
I'm not going to show it to Roxy, but that's the word that the chat keeps saying.
La, 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 la,
Yeah,
la,
exactly.
la.
Exactly. So anyway, that aside.
I concur.
After that happens, Morgan and Rick have this conversation.
They really want me to talk about the possibility of a zombie baby later. Okay.
There was a zombie baby last week. It was horribly disturbing. It was drowned with a shoe up of water. It was awful.
I want my rapper name.
All right, so after they have that conversation, Morgan basically interrogates Rick about what happened back in like season 3, I think it was, in the prison, where we talked about this last week. It was David and Lisa, David and Sarah.
The girl that Tyree was with.
Yes.
And I don't remember her name off the top of my head, and I apologize for that.
I thought it was like David and Lisa, maybe. But anyway.
Regardless.
Carol drags them and burns them alive because they were quarantined, and Rick says, okay, if we're going
Well,
back.
no, she killed them and then she burned them.
Yeah.
And she says, if we were to go back
she,
now.
She did not burn them alive.
Right.
Way more aggressive.
Yeah.
So if we were
That's
to
pure evil.
if we were to go back now, right, what would happen? And he says, if it happened today, I'd have thanked her, right? But the crazy thing is about Rick talking about Carol right before that. He's
Karen.
Like, what?
Karen.
That's what it was.
Thank you.
Rick's like, that woman, she's a force of nature. Like,
He's proud of her.
he loves her. Like,
Yeah.
she is a force of nature.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
incredible, but I was really surprised to hear him say this.
He's become cold.
He
I mean,
has.
he took out the dude on the ground, like with that. Like he asked him one question, he didn't get any answer, and it was just gone.
Yeah. No
When if we
sympathy.
just like straight up heard him be like, I was dead wrong? though. It's just not something that he usually comes out and say. So even though I could picture him doing that, I didn't think he would say, yeah, she was completely right. There was a different time, but I was wrong.
Think about what's happened since then. We've watched Lori die, right?
Yep.
He's watched his wife die.
That was after that?
Yeah, I believe so. Unless, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, but I think it was everything was like sort of safe in the prison. Lori dying was like, it was right around the same time. But I mean,
I think Lori died before that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was before. I
Okay.
think it might have been just before. But regardless,
Herschel had his head chopped off
in front of everybody.
That happened.
in front of everybody.
Yep.
Right? I mean, they have lost some.
They've gone to war since then. Now twice.
Bob got
He had another woman partner who died.
Bob got eaten. He watched his woman partner and her son get eaten alive in front of him.
Her son deserved it.
Yeah. I mean, Rick is
He
just...
knows it.
At this point, Rick's just like, look, I don't take chances anymore. If you're not on my side, I'm not going to give you a whole lot of time to speak. I'm going to ask you a very honest question. If I feel like you're being difficult, you're just dead. He'll say something like, I'm sorry it came to this, and then just shoot you.
He didn't really say he was even sorry at this point.
I know that was the one he killed the guy, right? At the end of the episode, 2 episodes ago?
No, I'm saying right now with this
yeah.
guy, he's like, I'm
Yeah.
not sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, just done. Just done. All right, so with Rick and Morgan, that whole conversation, so now Morgan's off in the wild. He's looking for Carol. And Rick has gone back, and they don't show us the journey back at all. What are you laughing about over there, Roxy?
She's seeing in the chat her
No,
rapper name.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So far we've seen Foxy Roxy, and that's been like seconded by somebody else.
Foxy Rocky would be funnier.
That would be great.
I was laughing at the fact that you've done a lot of impressions, and I have a really good one that I can do, but I'll save it for later.
I think, is it the one that I think I know what it is? Well, that'll be like on...
I have the best impression on the show. We'll see.
We'll do it. It'll be especially good for those on audio. We'll do it later in the show. All right, so Rick and Morgan is now off in the wild looking for Carol. We saw the guy who took the shot in the shoulder go off in the field after her as well. So a lot of that stuff is sort of unresolved.
He looked fine.
He did, right?
Yeah,
He was
and
straight chilling.
he was shot like just like right over here, which is kind of a sensitive-ish area too. So
Yeah, it must have been high or something like that.
yeah, it must have
or-
been like just above the lungs or something like that.
Did you say he must have been high or the shot was high?
The shot was high. And he was like walking pretty closely after getting shot, so maybe it hadn't set in yet. He was still kind of numb from the pain or something like that.
Yeah, adrenaline.
I'd be crying like a bitch.
Yeah, me. Oh my god, me too. Actually, I would have been dead years ago.
Like in TV, like you can straight up take a bullet, like especially in action movies, you can take a bullet in the arm in a gunfight and not even flinch. You can just keep going. Like that's like a thing.
Probably
that
not
happens.
his first shot.
Yeah, right. He's a bad guy. Was he the same guy that gave the sinister look with the thing in his teeth?
He was the guy in the passenger seat.
Okay, so he wasn't that guy.
He was not that guy.
The rapey guy who
No,
just
because the
clearly got
rapey guy
killed.
was the one who came around
Yeah.
and tried to attack her at the car, and she shoved the
That's
spike
right.
through him.
That's right.
Yep.
All right, so jumping to now Maggie, who gets a haircut. Now, one of the fan theories was that Maggie, a few weeks ago on Talking Dead, had the shorter hair. She had like the sort of edgy looking hair.
Yep.
Somebody was like, okay, well, her hair's a lot shorter than it was the last time we saw her on the show, so maybe it's Maggie that's going to die at the end of the season. So they cleared that one up for us right here.
Yes.
And Enid, who is becoming her sort of like surrogate daughter, right, which we've seen coming the whole time, is getting even closer.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what to really make of her relationship to Enid. Enid as a character just kind of bothers me. I'm kind of just like annoyed by her.
I'm over her just as a whole.
I get that. I'm more concentrated on what it meant about this hair cutting thing because I feel like shows use this as a plot device all the time
Yeah.
to prove something.
Well,
in real life, I don't find it to be as important.
And they've done it in this show already because that was when Rick and everybody got to Alexandria. He had the haircut, and that was kind of like the, all right, you get to settle down and come back to a sense of like normalcy. And this one didn't feel like there was a reason for it.
Well, she
She said
says
she doesn't want anything holding her back
slowing
anymore.
her down, right?
Yeah, but
Slow her
that
down.
was
Yeah.
stupid.
I'm kind of with you on
Yeah.
that. I felt it was kind of a force for me, honestly.
It's a weird moment. She's like bonding with Enid, which was like half the point of the scene. So they're trying to show that, and they're showing Enid stepping up for her to do her watch duty a little bit. So like, Enid's like, you guys were patient with me. I kind of love you now. Like you're my surrogate parents and all that.
Do you guys?
Something from Talking Dead that we're being told in the chat is Lauren Cohen used the word sister-like with Enid, and then again somebody else said they said sister in Talking Dead. So, you know,
That is interesting because I was looking at this as she's going to lose her child, and she already kind of has one.
Well, this is another one of those things where, and again, I'll be very vague here, but like we talk about source material versus the show, and they sometimes will take an idea and then deviate from the idea slightly, which is essentially what, I mean, the character that it doesn't exist that she is more of a daughter character. So if she's the sister character, then it's actually just a different direction. You're taking the story entirely, which is cool. As a comic fan, again, I like that more when we get subtle twists, because then I don't know what's going to happen. Right. And because you have characters that don't exist, it does make it easier to do that. But nonetheless, I did think the moment with Maggie and the haircut was a little forced. I didn't really. I still just feels like they're setting up Glenn to die. That's all. It keeps
everything's
feeling
building around him.
But what if that's the ultimate bait and switch? What if they're just doing that because they know we think that, and then they're going to not give it to us?
Because they're evil and they're following George R.R. Martin's rules.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. So
kill the people that you want to have live, and just make your audience cry.
Yeah, I guess maybe so. I think that pretty much covers everything. Is there anything else that I jumped over? We didn't really talk a lot about Abraham and Sasha. That was quick. We didn't get much.
The scene at the end, I think, is worth touching upon, where they were just so damn confident at the end, and it feels like Rick is just getting arrogant about how strong his group is and how well they're going to be able to protect it. And it's like, oh, you're ready for your world to come crashing down, man. Like, I don't see how this doesn't turn around on you.
Yeah. I guess one small detail that Derrial shot an arrow like next to Rosita's head to prove a point. What the hell was that?
That was a dick move. That's what it was. That was a dick move.
And she called him out for it.
Yeah, but
as she should have.
Yeah, that was crazy. What if it had missed and he had just killed Rosita?
Or what if a fly came in and she kind of swerved and it ended up hitting her?
And I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least she. Okay, everybody really wants us to talk about the zombie baby for a second.
What about the zombie baby?
So people are assuming, I'm guessing, and chat, tell me if I'm wrong, but you guys are assuming there's some sort of miscarriage-ish thing happening.
Right.
And it is going to result in a zombie baby. So that's what I'm getting out of what I'm interpreting from the chat.
Well, it does bring. She's going to birth the zombie baby, or the zombie baby inside her is going to turn her into a zombie slowly.
I think it's going to be that there's a miscarriage, baby becomes a zombie after. I don't know how
half baby,
works.
half zombie. Okay.
Two questions. First of all, that is one thing that I'm glad somebody pointed out, because we forgot to talk about. She is going into childbirth at the end of the episode. It seems like either she's going into childbirth or she's having a miscarriage, one or the other.
Yeah, I was leaning more towards the latter.
She's not far enough along.
She wasn't showing enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she's far enough along, and I also just think from a production standpoint that we can't have two babies on the show.
Right. So I mean,
it's just too difficult to deal with.
Yeah, but. So then, okay, so she has miscarriage is what we think happened. So okay, that's there. So there's that.
Or is it just? And again, I know nothing about women. I've prefaced this before. Is it just part of childbirth where there are just those moments of really terrible, intense pain?
Well, it would be a contraption, but it would be early on enough that it wouldn't have been like that.
Right.
But is there something that could cause that? This is what takes her out of commission for being involved in any sort of fight. Is maybe that's what it is. It's like there's some complication that is taking her out of being in any line of fire.
Could be.
Because at any point, like, she can't even go on lookout duty, because if she does, then she'll just be in pain and not be able to do her job.
What you're talking about would be something that was a complication that would put her on bed rest, and that would be interesting. However, I think that this is going to result in a miscarriage of some sort, so I think they probably will try to get it out of the way by the season finale.
Right. I mean, which we all have our thoughts on what's going to happen there. Something I did want to touch on, if we're moving past the zombie baby, are we moving past
I'm good with that.
Okay, I don't think we need to.
I'm stuck on it.
Okay, really?
No. I'm not.
Foxy Rock, what do you want to talk us about? No?
No.
Okay. So...
Lil J.
Foxy Rocky.
Yeah. Morgan built a cell, and he's now off in the wilderness, but he built a prison cell, and that was like his last contribution to Alexandria, which I think is funny and interesting that he did that and then was like, all right, now it's time for me to leave. So the cell
is just there.
Yeah, so it's going to serve a purpose, right? There's a point.
And I think you and I are deep in danger of talking about what we think that is.
Which we don't need to.
Right.
There'll be plenty of time to do
but
that.
But it's definitely... So what we talked about earlier with the guy running off who can mean something 2 seasons later, I absolutely think that's what that cell is for.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. So let's just get into predictions then, and we'll do...
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Sounds like a new prediction drop, too.
It's quicker.
No, it's the quicker one when you're running out of time.
Got it. Okay. We'll do predictions in 2 quick beats. First of all, if anybody in the chat wants to share a prediction, we'll do our quick, fan-friendly one, and then if we have a spoilery one we're going to do, we'll do a second, so you guys can tune out. Who wants to go first?
My quick one is, next week is going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's 90 minutes of really bad.
Yeah.
Bad like you don't want to watch, or bad like, ooh, that's bad.
Bad
Lil J.
Bad like you're going to be screaming the entire time.
So gruesome.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, I hope
so many close-ups of the eating of the intestines today.
Yeah, that's going to be
of it.
nothing compared to what we're getting next week.
feels almost like you need to be on the panel again next week, Rox.
They're asking for it in the chat.
Yeah, because it feels like you shared this one. You're so close to the
You think they're
ledge.
asking for it now? Just that I wait until...
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
my
good,
walker.
right?
That was
impression.
great.
That was Roxy's
Thank
walker
you so much.
impression.
You know they actually hired me for the show to do that on repeat all day? It's not the truth.
Don't fact check that, guys. Just follow her on Twitter
Lying.
instead. All right, I think that I'll jump on your bandwagon prediction there, and I'll just say the last time we got a 90-minute episode on the show was like the biggest bait and switch, like dog crap 90 seconds. Not to say the episode was horrible, but like
90 minutes.
Yeah.
90
90-second
minutes.
show would be crazy.
Though it was the worst.
It would be intense.
As far as expectation, and then like 90 minutes. It was the Morgan Eastman episode, and this is going to be the best 90 minutes we've ever gotten on this show.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I think your expectations are real high.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. This is so. All right, now let's go. Spoiler alert.
Wait.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Comic book stuff. Anybody wants to get away from, just like turn off right now. We're not going to go crazy, but just a couple moments. Rox, do you want to?
I'm going to just drink my whiskey and listen to you guys
Do
over
you
here.
want to put on earmuffs to protect yourself?
I just only have two hands and one of them's here. So.
We won't go so crazy. Do you want to elaborate on the prison cell thing for a quick second?
No, I will.
No need.
I think it's so far off, it doesn't need to be.
Okay.
Next week, Glenn is getting his head bashed in by that bat. There's no doubt in my mind that is happening.
I think that Glenn and Derrial are both dead next week. I have
one from the bat, one not from the bat.
Yeah,
Yep.
I have a $100 bet with the executive producer of Popcorn Talk that Derrial is dead this season. Stephen Lemieux, who used to be on this panel, who sat in here on our show before, and I don't remember it, but he insists I made it, so I'm sticking with it.
Good.
And I believe Derrial and Glenn are both dead.
What do you guys think about Maggie's baby? Dead or alive?
I think it's alive for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna. I agree with you. Two babies logistically is impossibly hard to handle, but I don't think it's dead.
Is there any other character it could be like Michonne?
No.
Not Michonne. I think they've started to go towards the Abraham is going to get it sooner rather than later. But
Wouldn't be big enough,
But
though.
I don't think he's this season finale. I think he's midway through the next season.
Well, also, like the Abraham death we talked about last week was the Denise death. It was actually in the comics. The exact scene is with Abraham, and
Yeah.
that's why he's, to me, he no longer feels in danger. They like the impact's not there. They already kind of did what they needed to. So that'll wrap it up for predictions this week. In the meantime, before you guys see us next week, same time, same place, for the finale of the best show on TV, before the Fear the Walking Dead show picks up, you guys
You're gonna
can
be on that,
follow-
right?
Fear the Walking Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be doing and actually I'll be doing the premiere on Tuesday of Fear the Walking Dead, getting all the interviews with the cast. So tune into the show for the premiere if you guys want to hear some fun stories. Rox, where can folks find you?
Everywhere at Roxy Striar. Thanks for having me, guys.
The John Carl on Twitter and Instagram, and on YouTube, Whiskey and Waffles.
And Ben Bateman Media on Twitter and Instagram. We will see you guys. See you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.